So, is it the happiest place on Earth or the most haunted place on Earth?
I think it's both. They're happy ghosts.
A world of laughter or a world of ghosts? So we're going to be talking about Disneyland today. We're going to be talking about haunted Disney. And Disney, in case you don't know, is extremely haunted. And we're going to go over some of the cases with it today here on Black Lotus. Conspiracy theories, the paranormal, UFOs, aliens, and all things strange and unusual. This is Black Lotus. So maybe we should start from the entrance of Disneyland.
Work our way in.
Yeah. So right off the bat, just before you even get in, you got the monorail going by. Yeah. And evidently that's haunted.
Yeah, a little 19-year-old boy back in 1966, Thomas Cleveland. He climbed over the fence during grad night. And for those who don't know, grad night is one of those times where they leave Disneyland open all night for all the high schoolers during graduation. Mm-hmm. So he decided to try to sneak in, jumped over the fence, and ended up on the monorail track.
Nice.
And, of course, security saw him immediately, get down, get down. Did he get down?
No, of course.
Well, yeah, after they had to bring him down on the stretcher because the monorail hit him, drug him 40 feet.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I'm sure that was not pleasant.
Wow.
Yeah, he graduated right to the world of ghosts because now they see him wandering around the tracks and they even see him running alongside the tracks and all of a sudden disappearing.
Okay, so he's not actually on the monorail car itself.
He's on the track.
He's on the track itself.
Yeah.
So it looks like you're going to hit the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
And it just disappears.
Oh,
or like I said, can you imagine being on the monorail and seeing somebody running alongside you? I think that would freak me out more than even thinking that someone was in front of us.
Kind of reminds me of that Twilight Zone episode with William Shatner, where there's the gremlin on the wing. And then as we're walking along into Disneyland, there's the fire department,
right?
And evidently, it's got a little haunting going on.
Yeah, that's haunted by Walt Disney himself.
Oh, is it Walt?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's his apartment up there.
Yeah, right.
That's where he stayed. When Disneyland was being built, that's where he spent most of his time. Was in, when he wasn't out on the field, he would actually stay there overnight and everything. And they have maids that go up there, and they leave the light up on the thing, as you can see by the picture, to of course honor him. Right. But there's been many a times where the maids are like wandering down and look up from Main Street and see the lights out. Mm-hmm. And of course they go up to go turn it back on again, and they turn it on, they walk downstairs and look up, it's out again. So that seems to happen a lot. I don't know if he's just playing jokes or just enjoying himself, but
probably
this seems to be a very bad, either that or it's a bad wire.
Yeah, well, I don't know. From what I understand about the guy, he was somewhat of a prankster.
Well, he had to be some kind of fun guy. I mean, look at what he created.
Yeah. Well, I also heard that near the end, he wasn't fun at all. He was, because it had taken a toll on him. I mean, when he was building Disneyland, before it opened, he went into bankruptcy something like 7 times or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it really took a toll on the guy.
So he wasn't a happy person.
No, God.
He sure made a happy place, though.
But I love Disneyland. I really do. I like it better than Disney World, in my opinion.
I'll agree.
I think Disney World is cool because the rides are a little bit different and they're a little more extended. But overall, I just don't like. It's because I grew up with Disneyland, and so I'm so used to it.
Almost Disneyland. Or Disney World, is almost too spread out. Uh-huh. The fact that Disneyland is all in this little area is like you're constantly weaving your way through all these magical places. Mm-hmm. There, it takes a while to get to anywhere.
Yeah. And I don't know how you feel, but Disney World, the Magic Kingdom in Disney World, just has kind of a sterile feel.
To me, it has a pop-up feel. Yeah. It's like the old-time carnivals where they'd pop up the rides and just put a fake front on top of it. Right. That's what it looks like and feels like to me in a lot of places there.
And one
At
of
least
the charms,
last time I went.
One of the charms of Disneyland is the fact that it's the ambiance is incredible. The attention to detail that Disney put into this is amazing, you know. But I mean, you know, honestly, we can carry a whole show on the background of Disney and what he had to do to get it up and running, and some of the secrets behind it. Maybe we'll do that someday, but I don't know.
Let's talk about our category anymore.
let's talk more about the paranormal. So let's step away from Main Street and let's actually go outside Disneyland to the California Adventure, and actually in Orlando, it was in the Disney Studios.
Oh,
but anyway, we're talking about the one that was at California Adventure.
Yeah,
we're talking about the Tower of Terror, and this thing. There's a pretty incredible video out there that we found, but it moves so fast that you can't see what's going on. And what's happening is that there's this technician on the ride, and he's going through kind of a dry run on the ride.
Looks like he's doing something. He has a checklist he's going over, just a normal inspection.
Yeah. So we found this video, but the image of the ghost that is on this video just happens a split second, and then 2 minutes later it happens for another split second. So what we did is we found a still image of this, and you'll be able to see it quite clearly. But anyway, tell the viewers what they think this person is. Or
well, yeah, it's supposedly there was a bellhop that was there and working there at one time and had a heart attack.
Well, not actually a bellhop, but a Disney employee.
A Disney employee, right.
Dressed as a bellhop.
The Tower of Terror was based on the Twilight Zone movies, and when you walk into the Tower of Terror, it's basically an old haunted Hollywood-style hotel. And there's bellhops and stuff like that. And you can see the ghost here. Now, later on in the video, he will show up next to him, like 2 or 3 seats down from the guy doing the inspection after a couple of more things. And during it, you kind of almost see like a shape, like there's something there on and off. So, very interesting. But they say it's that guy who died of a heart attack.
Yeah.
And they say that you can see him wandering around Platform D.
Yeah. There are several videos out there of supposed spirits at Disneyland, but some of them are just so hard to see. You know, you got to really kind of stretch your imagination almost to see it.
But that you don't have to stretch your imagination at all.
No, not at all. And then, of course, there's a small world, and talking about the small world, it's we almost didn't bring this up because it's just kind of a blip, but apparently. Employees report that the dolls come back to life at nighttime, and the music starts up and all that. And
they also, the dolls will switch places, they say, on them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now, kind of a Chucky thing.
I'm sorry. If I see dolls switching places at a place like that, I'm leaving. It's like when, in those movies, they go, oh, well, there's a noise outside. Let's go investigate. No!
No. Cardinal rule number 1 of horror movies. And you don't go alone.
Now, I think one of the most haunted places probably in Disneyland is the Pirates of the Caribbean. Now, I think that's because there actually are real bones used. There's only one real skull left, but they used a lot more than that in the beginning.
Now, I heard that skull is actually the skull that's on the bed.
Right.
Is that right?
That's the one I've heard that it is too. But originally, I guess they used a lot more bones because bones were cheaper back then than they are now.
Right.
Well, of course, people are always taking pictures and stuff. Well, one of the first things that happened was George. Now, this isn't the one in Florida, not the one in California.
Right.
So I don't know if they used real bones there. But this is supposedly a picture of George. And George is a construction worker. Now, I find this totally crazy and fascinating that this actually happens. That every day when they open up Pirates of the Caribbean, they have to say, "Good morning, George." Now, they also have to say goodnight, George, when they leave. I thought, okay, that's kind of interesting, but they swear that if they don't do this, that the next day when they open up, the ride's going to continue to break down. They're going to have mechanical problems all day long, and it's just going to be a hell of a day. So they do this.
So you got to be polite.
You got to be polite to George. He also he has his own door to come in and out of.
You had mentioned that, and I tried to look that up. I didn't find much about it. where does the door lead? Do you know?
I'd have no idea. I'm thinking it's a service entrance door from what they're making it sound. It sounds like it's likely like, when you're going through the rides, they have to have doors to get in to do repairs and stuff like that. And one of them is George's door.
Really?
That's the door. I'm thinking it's where he died. Is near where he died. Now, when I was researching this, one of the things I found about it, there was actually a comment on one of the videos I saw, and I thought it was quite interesting because it kind of makes it like, okay, this is not just hearsay, this is true. This person wrote, I remember as a kid going to Disney with my dad. The last ride we rode was the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. I heard the intercom say, "Good night, George," before we had left, and I swear I heard, "Good night, Maddie, dearest," afterwards. I asked my dad if he had heard it too, and he said it was silent. And this was by the Water Wolf Minecrafter, and that was about a year ago, so just if you're curious. But I find it interesting that it was a younger person, and the dad didn't hear it, because kids seem to always more...
they're always more sensitive.
Thank you, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So, but they actually do. They say hello and goodbye, or good morning and good night to this ghost.
Even if the thing doesn't exist, I think it's kind of a cool little tradition that they, at least to acknowledge, kind of that the guy did die there.
Right.
While
construction was going.
Yeah.
And in the one in California, they'd see a little boy ghost all the time. They see a ghost that supposedly is a little boy, and you see it in the security cameras and stuff. And by the time the ride ends, he's not there anymore. Yeah. He's always by himself in a boat. Huh. So I don't know what happened there and how he got there. Rumor has it that it's, again, ashes. As we know, people like to put ashes around, but it was ashes of a little boy thrown over into the water.
Yeah, they do that a lot there.
Yeah.
And people are always getting busted for it.
Constantly.
And with good reason. I mean, I'm sure it clogs up the mechanisms and stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, it would make like a mud and clog in the filters and clog the filters and everything.
Well, I wonder if that's how that boat crash happened.
I don't know. Yeah, there supposedly was a boat crash where two ladies and it went off the track and they both ended up dying.
Wow.
And I don't know how, because the water's not that deep and stuff. It seems like there, but
did you catch when that happened?
That was a while ago. I don't remember when, but they said
back in maybe the 70s.
Right. Okay. It was in the early. You got to remember too. A lot of this stuff happened back then because they didn't have their safety measures quite as up, and Disney is like way up their ante on that stuff.
Absolutely.
I'm sure all the lawsuits have probably helped. I'm sure they've been sued many, many a times.
Well, speaking of accidents, let's talk about America Sings. And I don't remember what year this was. We were talking about the stanzas and stuff.
This was
like
in the
that.
70s also.
But was it in the 70s?
I'm sure.
But anyway, back then, this employee there was working at this ride that they had there. It's no longer there, but it was called America Sings, and it was just basically a what?
74.
Oh, 74. Okay. But anyway, her name was Debbie Stone, and she was one of the people that kind of narrated the ride. It was one of these rides. It was almost like a carousel, but you sat in there and it moved you around a stage kind of thing.
Kind of like a donut around a donut hole, and the donut hole was the stage.
Yeah, pretty much. That's it. Yeah. But anyway, so where she was, where the narrators had to be, was precariously close to the moving wall. And so essentially, she was standing in the wrong spot at the wrong time, and she got squished between the walls.
Her shirt or something, her blouse got caught or something.
Caught into it.
Pulled her right into it.
Yeah, I mean, what a horrible accident, first of all. But yeah, it was pretty nasty.
Yeah, there's actually a video out there if you really want to look at something more, but it's not of her dying, but you can see that they're filming during this part where she dies, and all of a sudden you hear the wrenching screams.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, we decided not to include that in this.
We want to be spooky and scary, but that's kind of like, it was pretty morbid and pretty horrifying.
Yeah. I also hear that, like I said, even though the ride doesn't exist there anymore, she's spotted quite often kind of just hanging around Tomorrowland,
Yep, wandering around.
Yeah. But hey, before we go on, I want to make a quick announcement here. Don't forget that this coming Sunday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, we are going to be live, and we're going to have a paranormal medium on with us, and her name is Anne-Marie Ballog, and she's going to be doing live toe readings for people that have submitted their toes to us.
I put mine in.
Submitted pictures of their toes, not their actual toes. But anyway,
I wasn't supposed to come off and send them.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, damn.
But anyway, so yeah, so the opening for submission for the pictures of toes has now closed because there's only so much time she has for this. So we're gonna be doing, I think, five different people. So definitely check us out on Sunday at 4:00 Pacific time. Rob Reed, I know you're out there. I know you're listening to this. I know that you are probably not going to be able to watch it. Rob Reed lives in the south of France, so it's really off his schedule. But just to let everybody know, you can still watch it. Don't forget, you can still watch it. It'll be saved onto YouTube and as a recording. So definitely check us out on Sunday. So anyway, back to this. Let's talk about the Matterhorn.
The Dali Dip.
Dali's Dip. Yeah.
Yeah. Now this is a little later than some of the other accidents. This was back in 1984, and it was Dolly Young, and she was in the car of the Matterhorn with a child. And they don't really know, but when she got to this section here, which you're seeing up now, she had happened to stand up, unhooked her belt, stood up to supposedly help the kid in front of her for some reason. Well, when she did, of course, she hits her head on the top of the tunnel here you see coming up, because that's a track going across the opposite direction. It knocks her off the car, and it not only knocked her off so hard that it knocked her unconscious, it knocked her onto another track. And because she was unconscious, she didn't see or hear the other car coming that hit her and actually wedged her under the track, that they had to remove the track to get her out.
Wow.
So every night the crew has to actually walk the whole length of the tracks to inspect it and look for items that are lost for the lost and found and stuff. And to this day, they say when you walk through this area, the lights sometimes don't work. There's one bulb that blows out constantly. As you can see, there's a bulb right above it. That bulb supposedly blows out all the time. It has to be replaced more than any other bulb in the place. And you can actually hear her sometimes.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'd be pretty scared to be walking about that.
People are so dumb. Man, you got to ask yourself, what the hell was she thinking? You know how fast this bobsled thing goes.
Not only that, do you not hear that they say in every single language,
keep all arms and limbs inside, right?
And keep your belt seatbelt fastened until the ride has come to a complete stop, and blah 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 blah. There's constant warnings. I don't blame Disney for this one.
No, not in the least. No, and I think a lot of the accidents that have occurred were user error.
Most of them, yeah.
Like I remember this one accident where they shut down. What was it called? The People Mover, the gondola, the gondola.
Yeah, the ones that went across the skyline.
Yeah, and some idiot jumped out of it. So from that point on, it's still there. But it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, they're taking a lot of it down now. Yeah, they're actually planning on putting something up in that area. I forget what's being built in that area, but it's now being taken over. Finally.
And I wonder why. It's been so long since it's been closed down. For years and years.
Well, because
it just sits there.
It's in a really weird location. It really wasn't a big section either, because it was just the area where it would you would load and unload.
Well, yeah, it would go from the Matterhorn, I remember, over to somewhere in Fantasyland.
It'd go through the Matterhorn.
Yeah, through the Matterhorn.
Right, it'd go from Fantasyland to Tomorrowland or something like that. It went across the whole park.
Okay.
Yeah.
But again, dumb people, man.
Yeah. And they were spitting over the side and throwing things over the side, and that again, lawsuits. So they ended that one real quick.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I don't go on those anyway. I do not like those hanging ones.
One of my favorite rides there that is still operational is the Haunted Mansion. I love the Haunted Mansion. I think it's kind of a toss-up between that and the Pirates of the Caribbean, but I like the Haunted Mansion, I think, a little bit more. And I really dig it during Halloween time. And
I love what they do.
Transform it into the Nightmare Before Christmas stuff. I think that's really cool. But just the basic old Haunted Mansion is really awesome. And that's a Haunted Mansion right behind us here if you've never been to Disneyland.
Most people, I think, even if they haven't been there, they kind of still know.
Probably still know, yeah. When I lived in Minnesota, it blew my mind how many people had never been to Disneyland.
Well, I know. Us growing up in Southern California with passes most of our life, I've been, I can't, countless of times.
Yeah.
When we had our last time when I had my pass, which actually it's been about almost 10 years now because I've been moving around, but when I was in Southern California, we'd go 6 o'clock at night. We'd go, let's we're bored. Let's go wander around Disneyland.
Yeah.
There's nobody there because you can check online and see, they have apps out there and stuff to see how busy it is.
I remember also that if you went at a certain time, like into the evening, if you bought your ticket in the evening, it would be at a discount price because you'd only have maybe 3 or 4 hours. Right. Yeah, but they don't do that anymore.
Nope.
Man, and those passes you're talking about, they're
expensive now.
Outrageously expensive. I had one back in 2013, and it cost me, I want to say $600 for the year. Now I hear it's upwards to close to 1,000.
It's over 1,000 now.
Is it over 1,000?
It's over
really?
1,000 now.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
For the full pass and stuff, you're talking a lot of money.
Yeah.
I'd rather just join Club 33 at that point.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Be waiting a while, but anyway, yeah. So the Haunted Mansion, again, it's one of my favorite rides, and there, aside from, the fact that it's supposed to be creepy, there are certain areas there that are extremely creepy. And the area that I'm talking about, I don't know if it's in the area we're going to be talking about here, but the area that I'm talking about is, when you first get on the ghost buggies, the little thing that carries you through the ride, just after you get on, there's this dark area between there and when you enter the mansion, the hallway, that area.
Where all the doors are?
Yeah. That area creeps me out.
Well, there's nothing much there?
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know, but it's just... I get a weird feeling going through there. But anyway, why don't you tell the story about this?
Okay, this is the one in Florida, and I agree with you. I think that is probably close to the area because this looks like right where you'd be turning the bend to go to the doorway area. And a man was there, and he was taking night vision pictures, which in the Haunted Mansion makes sense. But he says when he gets on, there's like nothing but adults and no little kids around anywhere near him. Yet he takes this picture, and this kid looks like he's looking right at him.
Yeah.
It's kind of a really spooky picture. And again, he says when he gets off, there's no kids around, because you all get off right at the same time. And you can see he's like 2 buggies ahead of him. So it's not like the kid could have gotten off and ran very far.
Right, and why would this kid turn around? If he's using an infrared camera, he wouldn't be using flash or anything, so it wouldn't catch the kid's attention. So why is this kid looking directly at him?
When especially, it's very, very hard. I don't know if you remember how hard those gondolas come pretty far around on the sides. They're made so they really cut your peripheral vision so you only see what they want you to see because the gondolas turn around to view whatever they're wanting you to look at. So what is the reason he's even stretching this far out to even do it?
Yeah, and I did read something where somebody said it's obviously photoshopped, and I can kind of see where they can assume that because the kid's head, if you look at it, is kind of cut, but from the edge of the buggy thing. But really, if you look at the grain of the picture, and I apologize, viewers, that it's so grainy, but you got to keep in mind it was done with an infrared camera, so it's going to be grainy anyway. But the grains never miss a beat. If you look closely at it, it never misses a beat from the background to his face. So, if that's the case, then I don't think that it would be photoshopped.
Not only that, that's the way from being on that ride a gazillion times, that's the way it would look because it would be cut off like that. It looks either just like at a very slight angle, just starting to turn again, like I said, turn around that corner. And, the grain could be put on afterwards. It could have been photoshopped and then grained afterwards. Nowadays it's hard with technology, but again, I have to agree. I think this is more of an authentic photo. I think it's either a real kid or a ghost. It's one of the two.
Yeah.
And I'll say ghost because it's spooky as hell.
Well, and again, why would a kid turn around and look directly at him?
Especially on a ride like this where you're trying to see, and the light is you can't again tell in this picture, but if you were looking ahead, you could see a light that something's coming around the corner. So I think my attention would be towards the front.
Sure. And especially, unless this kid's been on the ride 100 times, you know, there's stuff jumping at you and all that stuff and trying to scare you. I mean, why would this kid be totally distracted by some guy with a camera? You know, I don't know. It just seems weird. But that's not the only issue that happens in the Haunted Mansion.
No, I think this is probably one of the most haunted places on the whole place of Disneyland. There's another one in '94. There was a woman whose 7-year-old child had died, and she wanted to spread his ashes in the Haunted Mansion because it was his favorite ride at Disneyland and his favorite place. Mm-hmm. Of course, we all know Disneyland doesn't allow this.
Yeah, right.
You know, we talked about this just a few minutes ago. Well, supposedly she got caught. They shut down the ride. They vacuumed up all the stuff, but they might have left some behind because now at the exit of the ride, there are many and numerous witnesses of hearing a boy sobbing or even seeing a boy and then going to talk to him and him just disappearing.
Really?
That would freak me out in the Haunted Mansion.
Oh, yeah.
Especially since, you know, being on it so many times, I know which ghosts are real. You know, this would be that 100th or 1,000th ghost they always talk about.
Yeah.
So
the one that creeps me out is the guy in the tuxedo. I hadn't even heard about this until Ralph told me about it. But yeah.
Yeah, he's also at the exit. This is actually the exit where you actually exit the ride. The little boy is at the exit where you're going up the actual motorized escalator.
Oh, the escalator thing.
Right.
Yeah.
This is
this is right after you get off the buggy and you've already had the hitchhiking ghosts and all that.
Right. You get the hitchhiking ghosts and you get to the buggies, and when you're getting off the buggies, there's that moving sidewalk that you get onto, and then you actually go up to where the escalator going out of the thing is. Well, there's a woman there, you know, of course, watching, making sure people get off and aren't going around for a second, third time or whatever. And there's a mirror for her to actually watch and see inside the buggies as they turn, to make sure that people have gotten off properly.
Okay.
Well, she keeps seeing a man in a tuxedo sitting there. And then all of a sudden the man starts getting out of the seat. Now, after seeing this several times, a man getting out and disappearing, right there I'd be like, no. But no, instead this employee stayed until one day the man got out and started going towards her like he's going to put her hand on his shoulder. She turned around, walked out, gave her a notice, quit, and has never been back to Disneyland.
Right.
Now, as an employee being there, you would think, they know all this stuff, so that would be extra spooky. They would know something's up. I just, wow.
So, those of you who have never been to Disneyland or Disney World, you probably don't know this, but Disney puts on a spectacular fireworks display every night. Mm-hmm. I was talking to an employee at the resort I was staying at in Orlando, and he was telling me that they go through approximately $1 million worth of fireworks every single night.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? But it's amazing. And I think I mentioned before that I'm not really into fireworks. It's nice to go ooh and ah, but at Disneyland, I'm floored every time I see this thing. I mean, plus now they have the light show going with it and all that stuff, and fantastic music going along with it. It's just it's really an event to witness.
Fantastic really too. If you haven't seen that,
that's really cool. Yeah. But anyway, somebody was taking video of the fireworks, and I believe this is at Disneyland.
Yes, Disneyland.
Yeah. And somebody was taking video of the fireworks, and I'll show that video right now. And you'll notice here in a minute, as the person zooms in toward the castle, there is a figure standing right here, right on the roof right there. Now, did you catch it?
Now, they didn't see it themselves because they're filming you can tell they're filming the fireworks. They're following where the fireworks are happening and stuff, and where they're coming from.
So what I did is I slowed this video down so you can get a better look at this thing. So it'll come up here in just about a second here.
Now, towards the end of this video, because you can if you pay attention, like when I just saw it move up, you can actually still see the ghost sitting there. Mm-hmm, he's there almost the whole time.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is what we're talking about here. There's a guy there, and it looks like he's kind of leaning on a post. And Ralph had mentioned that he kind of gives the image of like maybe Walt Disney,
Yeah, he looks like he belongs there to me.
But here's the thing. He's also standing near some of the pyrotechnics, and I kind of wonder if it's just the guy is a pyrotechnician.
Well, no, because you can actually see the smoke through him. if you pay attention, there's smoke behind him.
Oh, okay.
So it's like he's transparent. So it's not a real person. Not only that, they wouldn't have a technician up on the castle, I don't think, unless it's to watch for fireworks. But
unless it was something that, there was a problem with one of the things. Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, it just seems very out of place.
Yeah. Well, definitely out of place. And but yeah, and one of the things that people say is that he's too large. He's too large of a figure to be on that roof and be that big. But what you need to understand is that the castle is actually an optical illusion. It's actually smaller than it looks.
A lot smaller.
Yeah, and so like the roofs are like kind of tiny.
Right. What they do is they start out with the bottom floor being a 1-to-1 scale, but then when it goes up, it's a 1-to-2, and then every floor is going down. So by the time they reach the top of the castle, it's actually 1/10 of the size of a real brick.
Right.
So it gives the illusion.
Yeah. So that roof that this guy's standing on, even though it looks like it should be huge, it's probably only about 2 feet wide.
2 feet, 5 foot wide. So it's not that big.
So he would match the scale, I think. So
which I think if it was faked, somebody would probably not even realize unless they really did their research.
Yeah.
I don't know. That one was one of the ones that I thought was very, very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go on and let's go into Tomorrowland, and let's talk about Mr. One Way.
Mr. One Way, there he is. He's got red hair. He's tall, and he seems to be a habit of going on to Space Mountain to ride when there's empty seats. And now this is only one picture I've found of it, but I've heard many people saying they have pictures of him. There's a video. I know I've seen a video of him out there. We weren't able to find it for this show. But he supposedly died in 1970 while riding the ride. Okay. They don't know. No one says why or how or whatever. I'm assuming a heart attack or something. It is a pretty fast ride. And supposedly he goes on all the time, and they'll find him, seeing him like this as the ride starts and takes off, because this is the beginning of the ride. But of course, when they come back around, he's no longer there.
He's not there. Yeah. And the interesting thing I think about this is that this photo from like the CCTV shows him, and it's not as though he doesn't come across as a typical ghost that you would find in a photo. He's not transparent. He looks like just anybody else. But the weird thing is that he's not there when the ride comes back.
Right. And there's been many witnesses, the employees, by riders and stuff. They will actually see him walk up and get on the ride, and they'll say, look, there's a person in front of me, and then all of a sudden they get off the ride and there's nobody in front of them anymore. I would see another thing that would freak me out.
This guy apparently died on Space Mountain. Is there a record of this guy's dying?
I don't know. I don't know.
I wonder if that's just rumor.
It doesn't matter if he died or not there, and that's just a rumor. If he's still showing up, it's still scary.
Well, see, and that's just it. I don't think you need to die at Disneyland to be able to haunt the place. I mean, it's a place that's beloved by many, and so why wouldn't a spirit?
Well, right, and they say your spirit does go to where you feel at peace or where you like. Yeah. I think a lot of spirits would. Well, I guess demons too would go to Disneyland.
Mickey is a demon.
Well, maybe Disco Dolly's a demon.
Yeah.
Disco Dali is also in the Space Mountain area.
Debbie.
Or Disco Debbie. Excuse me. I'm confusing. Too many D's in Disneyland. Disco Debbie is a green fog that seems to ride around and roam around inside the Space Mountain area. So, is she bad because she's green?
So why do they call her Disco Debbie? Do you know?
Just because she's a green fog and just kind of dances around the tracks.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, there's no reason why that I've found that they actually call her that, except for that. So I guess probably also it was the 70s, I'm sure, when it was found. Everything in the 70s was disco. Yeah.
Anyway, so I think the last thing we're going to talk about today is this is hard to discount, this thing. And what it is, it's 4 cameras, the CCTV at Disneyland, and it's, as I recall, it's over near where the Haunted Mansion is.
Right,
that area.
It's New Orleans Square.
New Orleans Square. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to show you this video. It's hard to say that this was manipulated in any way. So take a look at this.
Now, yeah, if you note on the left-hand side, that is actually, that top one right there, that is the Haunted Mansion entrance.
Yeah.
Those are the two gates you would go in to start getting into queue to
now,
start walking.
Right there, near the end of the road right there, you see somebody walking, and now they're walking down the sidewalk there, right?
Yep, getting closer to us, right by the lights up there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's almost hard to see, but you can, right there, you can definitely see it. And watch as it continues on the next camera.
Right. I don't know. I just find this kind of.
And now he's walking. Now this is still the same shot of him walking through this area, and this is the river front where they have Phantasmic.
Right. Yeah, like Tom Sawyer's Island.
Right.
Area. Yeah, but you can clearly make this thing out, but it's obviously transparent. And yeah, I don't know, a double image on a CCTV. I don't see how that could be possible.
Well, what gets me here too is watching. He just decides, well, I'm just going to walk over to the boats and stuff like that. He just walks across the water. He doesn't even continue down the path.
Right. You know,
so yeah,
I would too if I were a spirit. Why wait in line?
I guess so. Yeah, I find this one the most compelling. It's been said that it could be just overlay from using the tape over and over and over again, but then who was the person that walked on water?
Yeah,
was Jesus there at Disneyland?
Yeah, but again, I mean, how are you going to do a double image or an overlay image on a CCTV? I mean, I really don't think the employees of Disney are pulling a hoax on this.
No, this was the one that, like I said, that I find most believable, and it would be really, really hard to fake.
Yeah, absolutely hard to fake.
I don't know. I think we need to go to Disneyland and go ghost hunting.
I mean, you can do it. I could probably do it in After Effects, Adobe After Effects. I don't know if it would come across that well, but even then, you're being shown an image from these 4 screens in security. You know, I don't see them doing this kind of I don't see them pulling this kind of crap at Disney. I don't think Disney would put up with that.
Yeah, I don't think Disney wants to promote the possibility that they have ghosts everywhere, the real ghosts.
I don't know about that. I have a feeling that Disney kind of in the underground advertisement, kind of like guerrilla advertisement, and because they know people are going to go there to kind of ghost hunt while they're going.
I just said let's go ghost hunting.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, but I can see Disney doing that kind of thing to kind of as a self-promotion kind of thing. Anyway, anyway, folks, what do you think? Do you think that Disney's haunted? Do you think it's entirely possible? I think it is.
And this is just some of the stories we came across. There are tons of stories about Disneyland being haunted.
Yeah. I mean, the place has been open since the 50s, you know. Tragedies happen, you know, over and over and over, even into today's safe regulation stuff in this kind of age. Things are going to happen, you know. And again, why? Because people are dumb. You know,
most of the time it's somebody's fault.
It's somebody's fault, yeah. And Disney is relatively, you know, they give the warnings, you know, but people are dumb, people are stupid. So, but anyway, what do you think? Drop a comment below if you've ever experienced anything over at Disneyland or Disney World. Let us know. I'd like to hear about it. But anyway, and again, don't forget that we are at we are going to be live on YouTube on Sunday, September 9th at 4 p.m. with Paranormal Medium and Marie Balog. So definitely check us out. Come on by and chat with us. And yeah. So anyway, let's get out of here.
Sounds good.
So anyhow, until next time, keep thinking and question everything. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe and click that little bell so you can get a reminder every time we upload a new episode.